Hello everyone, this is Dr. John Wohar coming at you today from the war room here at Wohar Wellness Systems. Um, our country's been kind of preoccupied with the last month or two with the coronavirus, and it seems like we've forgotten there are other things out there that are affecting people every day. Some of the other big problems and not so big problems, but I figured today would be a good day to share with you a battle that I've had with one of my arch nemesises over the years, which has been poison ivy. Poison ivy, as you can see, won our latest confrontation. Well, at least it won the first battle. It hasn't won the war. I'm going to win the war. So anyway, poison ivy and I have had a storied past history where since I was a kid, I would get poisoned very, very bad. And in fact, I was thinking over the weekend how when I was 14, 15, and 16, I actually picked tobacco up in Connecticut for 3 summers. And poison ivy and tobacco, they're nightshades, as are potatoes and tomatoes. And sometimes when you're peppers, when you're working in your garden and you're either pruning, like my tomatoes and stuff, I always wear long sleeves because you get a very similar rash sometimes if you're sensitive to nightshades as you do with poison ivy. And when we were in Connecticut picking tobacco, every week they were taking a van load of us off to the doctor to get prednisone pills and tablets and shots because the tobacco rash was as bad, if not worse, as poison ivy. You would just swell from head to toe from being in contact with the tobacco plants as you were picking them. So anyway, that's just a little history, and every year I'd go there and get it bad, and I was definitely on the van on my way to the doctor within a few weeks of being up in Connecticut. Also, when I bought my little gentleman's farm 20 years ago, I was archery hunting before we even built our house, and I climbed up a tree with my tree stand, and I learned that poison ivy just doesn't grow on the ground. Poison ivy loves to climb trees and attach itself to trees. And so I'm up in this tree hunting, and as I'm sitting there, I have this big, thick vine with these little furry, hairy things that are like embedded into the bark of the tree. And I'm thinking, this thing, it had long little branches sticking out, and it was kind of blocking my field of vision here. So I said, I gotta get this tree out of this vine out of here. So I reached in my pocket, got my trusty Swiss Army knife out, and I started sawing away with the blade on there, a little saw blade on my thing, and I was pulling this vine off, and I cut it down, and it was hot and humid, and I'm sweating, and I'm wiping myself like this as I'm working, and guess what? Next morning, face totally swollen, eyes swelled shut, face all blown up everywhere, to the point where I couldn't even work. I mean, my eyes were like this, so I ended up going to the dermatologist. I got steroid shot and steroid pills, and took that for 10 days and whatever. But in a few days, I did miss. I remember 2 days of work, so it was like an expensive little run-in with poison ivy. So over the years, though, I've noticed that when I do get it, I don't get it as bad. And it's usually like a minimal, wherever I had contact with it, it doesn't spread. Poison ivy is, the oil in poison ivy is called urushiol. And that urushiol oil gets into your skin because it's an oil, just like essential oils, and it goes right through your skin and goes into your bloodstream. Your immune system then attacks it, and it forms an antibody-antigen complex, and then tries to eliminate it the fastest and the most expeditious route possible, which is usually back through your skin. And that's what the rash is. The rash is your body literally getting rid of the poison ivy through the skin. So that's why it's really not contagious once you break out. Like the other thing about poison ivy is when you get it, like say I just touch it with my hands, and I may get a little bit of poison ivy around my wrists and hands. Next thing you know, like a day or two later, it's breaking out on your chest and on your legs. And I used to get it so bad on my legs, when I'd go to work, I'd have to wrap, I put like a couple layer of paper towels over my thighs that would ooze terribly, which had no exposure to the poison ivy. And then I would put ace wraps around it, and usually by within 2 or 3 hours into working, it was oozing through the ace wraps into my pants, because that's how bad I used to get it. which I don't get like that at all anymore. And I attribute that to the fact that my diet has been clean for the last 25 years, and drinking aloe juice on a regular basis for 25 plus years. I feel my immune system doesn't have these overreactions. But I did have exposure this weekend as I decided, hey, can't go anywhere. What else is there to do? Might as well clear some trees and cut. And so up on my property, I decided to clear an area out, and I cut down probably 10 to 15 trees. And the one thing they had in common was they were just riddled with poison ivy vines. I mean, from bottom to top and all the way up. And some of those vines were as thick as your arm. So I'm cutting them with a chainsaw and all that furry junk and getting that cut off. And it was just like, the wind was blowing hard Saturday, plus it was very hot and humid, and I was wiping myself again with my eyes. And now you can see I have it on my eyes, my forehead, and all over, a little bit on my hands, but I want to show you that that's already doing much, much, much better overnight, and I'm going to show you why. So here's the poison ivy protocol that I follow that works well for me. First of all, because it's an oil and it's on your skin, you want to get it off your skin as soon as possible. So if you know you had exposure, get in the house and get it off your skin. The best thing to use is actually dishwashing detergent. I don't like to use like a lot of the commercial brands because they contain formaldehyde, and formaldehyde is a great degreaser, but I really don't want to be sticking my hands in it day in and day out if I'm washing dishes or putting it on my skin, because it only degrease oils and greasy stuff in your dishes, but it also degrease your own good oils on your skin. So I use Lemon Bright or Diamond Bright from Melaleuca. They have different, I like the lemon one, and that works real well. I'll actually apply it full strength onto my hands, and I'll rub it on my neck and my face, wherever I got exposure, and get it off ASAP. Then rinse it with hot water to get that oil off. You could also use Thieves, hand soap, Thieves, dishwashing detergent I think is a little better, because again, you can put it on your skin and break that oil down and get it off as quickly as you possibly can. Then I get upstairs, jump in the shower, and really same thing, hit it hard and with the soaps to get it off. Okay, that's number one. Number two, when you come out now, and the other thing is when you're showering or when you're washing, I have found as far as the itch factor goes, to use as hot of water as you can stand. So even when I get in the shower and have it on my face, I'll let it hit my face and I'll scratch. And it seems like wherever you get it, you scratch as hard as you can stand, and in about 10 to 15 seconds, the itch just goes away. So hot water as you can stand, don't burn yourself, use your head, but as hot as you can stand, scratch it until it quits itching. And once it quits itching, then you're good, and move on to another area and scratch, and for some reason that relieves it for a good while. So now you're showered, you got the oil off your skin, you come out. What are some of the things you can do? What I use, and I kind of make my own little brew here, and that's what I did here. So what I did was I took aloe jelly, which I don't have at the moment. My daughter stole it all to make her hand sanitizer for the coronavirus, because you can make your own hand sanitizer out of aloe vera jelly. But we do have also the aloe mist. So this spray, you can spray it directly on your skin and let it just kind of soak in like that, and that's nice and cooling. And what I like to do with that is take a little bottle of this, and then I add lavender, Roman chamomile, and Harmony and Joy from Young Living. Those are really good. Even Melrose is another good oil. So I made my own brew, and I used aloe jelly. I used Renew from Melaleuca. This used to be called Problem Skin Lotion, and so it's more of a cream than it is a jelly, but I kind of put 2/3 of the aloe jelly, 1/3 Renew, and then I added the oils. So my oil mix was about 20 drops of lavender, 10 drops of frankincense. I did about 10 drops of Roman chamomile. I brought 10 drops of Melrose. I recommended that, which is Melaleuca, and rosemary. And so that was, I think, pretty much. I think I also put a little bit of peppermint in because it has a cooling effect and it also helps with itch. So I added those to here, and then to my Renew aloe jelly mix. Shake that up, and I actually put it directly on my face and even around my eyes. It didn't cause any burning whatsoever. And then on my hand. Now, this hand, usually where my glove hits, get swollen really, really bad and really red. Last night, this was red as could be. And so I right away started doing, like, I was misting, and then after that would dry, I would put this on. And then the other thing that I do, which I have the advantage of owning, is a cold laser. So cold laser has different settings, different frequencies, and there's two actually lasers in here, a red light laser and an infrared laser. The infrared laser is beyond the visible spectrum of light, so it has a little guide light on it, and it has different frequencies. It pulses that light at different frequencies, and they have found that pulsing of that light has a stimulatory effect on different tissues. So this one actually has a setting on it called rash skin. It also has one just called skin. But I was using the rash skin one, and well, there's the red light laser. You see how bright that is, and I was kind of doing that, but that's more stimulatory. So then you can hit a switch here, and I switched it to the infrared, and now you notice it's not as bright. Well, that's because that LED light is just a guide light, because the infrared laser is not visible, and you wouldn't know where you were treating with it. So I kind of did this, and I treated about 2 minutes on the spots that were bad. I actually did it up on my head like this as well. And you never should shoot a laser in your eyes, so don't do that. But I kind of like blocked my eyes and got down here around my cheeks and stuff. And it's not as bad. This is considerably less. You can see it's hardly even red at all. Last night this was real bright red and inflamed, so overnight there was a nice change. So those are some of the topical things you can do. Now we also muscle tested for nutritional support, because when you really get a hyper reaction to poison ivy, your immune system is kind of like out of kilter a bit. And so there are some things you can do to help balance or support your immune system. So one I tested for, which I've been taking, is Allerplex from Standard Process. Actually, the organ reflex, oh yeah, I want to show you this, is a homeopathic that we use from King Bio called Poison Ivy and Oak Mix, which is a homeopathic spray. You just hit yourself about 5 times you can do it every hour when you're bad initially, and hold it in your mouth 20 seconds and then swallow. These are distilled water-based homeopathic formulas. Unfortunately, King Bio was shut down by the FDA not long ago, and they had to get rid of anything that mentioned a remedy for a specific condition. They couldn't say that any of the remedies treated a condition. So even though, like a lot of the things you'll see in there, you'll see Rust toxidendrum, which is poison ivy. You'll see other nightshade homeopathic preparations of different nightshades that can all cause the rashes, like I mentioned earlier, with tobacco rash and tomato rash and stuff. So I'm just hitting myself with that, a couple sprays a few times a day. Allerplex, which is adrenal support. There's a little vitamin C, but there's different things that will help support the adrenals. Your adrenals are what produce your anti-inflammatory hormones. And so if you go to a dermatologist, like I did the one time when I was real bad, and they give you, what did they give you? Hydrocortisone cream, steroid creams, or actual steroid injection like prednisone or something. And your adrenal gland is your own steroid factory. It makes your own cortisone and hydrocortisone. So supporting the adrenal glands is a great idea. And then DHIST, or Standard Process version of this, would be Antranex. But DHIST has, again, vitamin C, which is always good as an immune support. It has vitamin A, vitamin C, stinging nettle, and rosemary. So I found this works really well for any allergy type symptoms, not just for poison ivy, but for hay fever, which we're kind of coming into that season now. Of course, everybody with hay fever is going to think they have the coronavirus, but for those of you that know that you get hay fever this time of year, yeah, DHIST works really, really well. You can take 2 of those every few hours, and sometimes in the beginning 2 every hour, and just till things settle down. I mean, I was much redder this morning in my face than I am now, 3 hours into working this morning. So I have calmed down considerably since yesterday and even since this morning. So I think what I might do is I might check back with you in a day or so and let you see for yourself the changes in my body, because I'm seeing them almost hourly as I'm winning this battle with poison ivy. So that's it for now. I know that this is a problem for many of you like it was for me, and I hope that you'll find this information helpful. Some of these things, I know a lot of you use oils at home, and you'll have some of these. You can make your own little remedies, and try it. Try it, you'll like it. So this is Dr. John of Wohar Wellness Systems coming at you from the Wohar Wellness System War Room. Take care and be safe out there.